Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Hallyujuku Talks segment where we take a subject and we flesh it out, talk about it a bit more, usually go into a bit more detail about it. Usually it's a show, movie, or just something that we're really excited about that we kind of want to give it a chance to kind of give it a few more minutes and talk about it a lot more in depth. This week we have a couple of high-profile albums, as PD said before we took a break after headlines. One of those was something that we've been super excited. I guess we've been super excited about both of these, but like for me, we've been talking about one of them for a while and hearing that this was coming up, and that was the Epik High album Shoebox. And we're going to kind of take a chance to kind of break it down. We both got a chance to sit and listen to the album. I actually bought it this morning and listened to it, and PD's been listening to it over on Spotify. So if you have Spotify and you want to listen to the album, go over there right now and check it out. But if you know that you're an Epik High fan and you want to pick it up, you can go do that right now. We're recording this on Sunday, November 2nd, so it'll probably be out later.
Yeah.
That album will definitely be there. And I will say, for the money that I paid for it, it is definitely worth it.
Yeah.
It's a really good album.
It's got some fantastic tracks and some fantastic variety on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and break it down. Now, normally what we would do when we break down an album is we kind of break it down really wholly. We talk about each individual track. We even talk about kind of the covering and the casing. Since neither one of us got our hands on the physicalness of this album yet, we both kind of just got it digitally and listened to the tracks. We've already really kind of gone over some of the tracks, but there are some other things to kind of let you know now that the album has been released. But we'll go through it little by little here. So let me go ahead and open this up so I can look at the track list for this.
Because we talked about before, we talked about a couple of tracks before, namely. I pulled up the video for the video players of a little bit. I showed it a little bit. We talked about Born Hater. You know, the lead singles of the track, of course, initially was Born Hater, which was a fantastic kind of pass the mic rap title that really is smart, fun, funny. And a really interesting video, as you can see, the vertical, and you can actually pull this up not only a YouTube app, but you pull this up on going by YouTube.com, look this up, pull it up, and you can watch the whole thing vertically. it looks like they're trapped in your phone, and it's kind of hilarious. But yeah, this one was a great track and a fun, interesting track, and you actually shared with me a breakdown, as everybody gets to see our doc, breakdown of the kind of the lyrical content. Did a very interesting analysis of the lyrical content, right?
Yeah, because it's lost my headphones. It's talking about everybody's haters and why they're hated for the things that they do. So Tableau talks about this kind of scathing article that was written about him a few years ago on this website where people were questioning his education and his rap skill and kind of a lot of the other things that make Tableau. Because everybody knows Tableau, or as everyone knows, Tableau is a Ivy School prep, as well as
went to Stanford, I believe.
Yeah. And among other things. So it's just one of those things, and he talks about like this just unnecessary hate for me. Like he's like, it's fine that you're this born hater and that you're the small thing, because as you see in the video, he's fighting off these roaches, and saying, oh, you're this small thing that keeps trying to crawl up on me and use me, and that's fine, because obviously you need the haters. And it's just like kind of really fun to really break down what everyone is talking about. Some of the other ones are a little bit silly. One of the other ones that really spoke to me when beginning they were talking about was the other member of Epik High, Mithra, yeah, who's talking about being in that shadow of Tableau, you know, but you know, still being able to hold his own and still being a really, really good rapper. Like he is a really exceptionally good rapper, but you know, the camera's always focused on Tableau. You know,
Tableau's the one on the adorable variety show with his adorable daughter. Yeah, he's a star of like a group, but hey. I'm here, and even has that moment where he's in the shadow and Tableau's up front, like
and it gives us a clear perspective of that. So and then you have a verbal gent who's talking about everybody's perception of him and him not being tough and possibly being gay or whatever, which is just funny.
What is this?
And kind of Benzino. I mean, I keep saying Zeno's silly thing of him being materialistic and only having female fans and not being a real rapper. Like, it might as well be in. Like, everybody's saying that he should have just been an idol. So it's just kind of funny to see those kind of things.
And that was it was a pretty fantastic track, and we talked about it before. It was a really fun track. But there are some other really fantastic tracks on here, and not just and some interesting inclusions. We have present by Taeyong makes a great contribution on here in the song "Rich." I think another really cool song was Burj Khalifa with Yankee and Gecko, and that one was a really cool and interesting track to me. It was, I think, where they started to kind of dip their toe in the ratchetry pool. A little bit, not necessarily go full on, but just with this kind of the style of the song.
I really like that song as well. That song was really, really good. It's just like it came on, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm jamming to this." Like I'm definitely
not full on this, but just it's just a fun, really fun track. And of course, I think it's not an. I think at least from observation, it's not an Epik High track if there aren't some really cool emotional tracks like We Fight Ourselves was a really cool, like, kind of really cool emotional song. Spoiler, like we talked about before. And of course, and Happy Ending, or Happen Ending, which I'm still confused about. And of course, an interesting inclusion was Tableau's cover of Taeyong's Eyes, Nose, Lips. Entirely English and features Taeyong. That was
really interesting. Yeah. I didn't initially look at the track list, and I kind of just went through the album. So when that came on, I was really, really surprised that was included in the album.
It's a fantastic track. It is a really fantastic track. What other tracks kind of caught your attention? As I pretend I'm hosting Record Breakers.
I must say the Life is Good featuring J Part.
Yeah.
Really, really, really kind of caught me off guard. And then the title track, Shoebox, featuring MYK, I thought was also really good as well. Like, it's like kind of a old 90s beat. And I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed kind of the late 90s beat, the kind of R&B flavor to it. Like, those are the things that I always really like. A nice beat, a cool kind of jazzy R&B flavor to song really, really, really speak to me really, like, so much. I just love tracks like that so much. It kind of get me going. Like, it's a song I could just kind of listen to on repeat, over and over again, and just not get tired of it and hear something new every time. So
it's a fantastic track. It's some fantastic tracks. And what would you say is your thoughts? Kind of to kind of conclude, what would be your thoughts on the album overall, and kind of the big picture of the album?
It's one of those albums that I think it's one of those albums for me. I could hand to somebody who's like, "Oh, you listen to K-pop," or "Oh, you listen to Korean music." Like what? And you just turn it on and you go listen, and you just sit and you let them listen to it, and you let those one or two tracks that are really exceptional play kind of first, and then you just go, yeah, and you wait for them to be like, I want more.
Yeah.
You know, just it's one of those kind of albums that you can definitely pull somebody into this styling of music with, and just does. It really does. Just is so good, man. Like
Right.
Epik High, just like and with all the things that and kind of silly stories that happened around this album of like YG locking them out of the studio and making them use other studios and things like that, make you kind of appreciate it more when it's good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you know the music is actually good, and you're just like, you know what, it was really really good. So holy shit, I fucking enjoy the shit out of this so much.
Yeah.
And I do. I wasn't always super sold on Epik High, but the more and more I listened, the more and more I realized that I was a fool. Like,
You're a fool.
They're good for a reason. And they moved up to working at YG for a reason as well. Because being able to hear those voices that I really appreciate and love and respect, like Taeyong and the voices that I'm learning to love, like Bobby and Bi and things like that. And even hearing Jay Park, who just doesn't necessarily have anything to do with YG, but you know, Epik High is one of those groups that everybody wants to work with, and everybody seems happy when they're working with Epik High. Like they just seem like, holy shit, that was such a fun experience to get to hang out and work with those guys, you know? So
yeah. All right, now we have our favorite tracks and our conclusive thoughts. Now for our haiku reviews. Oh, wait, wrong song. No, yeah, Epik High is a fantastic track and really ambitious. Really fantastic album, Shoebox, and really ambitious on some levels and really well done. But no, speaking of ambitious,
well, since we have our favorite tracks, before we move on, let's say, is there any tracks that didn't fit to you?
I think there wasn't really anything that didn't fit. I mean, if there was anywhere that I would say I was slightly let down, I would say I don't love Spoiler. I like it, but I don't love Spoiler. And kind of Happen Ending, the name is a lot, and the song. I don't love that, but I think most of the rest of the tracks I enjoy thoroughly, just just fully. But if I were to say anything that would kind of let me down, it would be I didn't love Spoiler as much as I love some of the other tracks. It's good, but I didn't love it. But that's just what I'm thinking. Did you have any moments that we were kind of?
Encore is good. It's a good intro track, but then it doesn't. After you hear everything else, it doesn't stand up to the rest of the album. Yeah. And that's probably it. But it's a really great intro track. So there's a reason it's at the front of the album, you know. And you know, just having that realization sometimes that the song that is in the front doesn't always have to, because I talked about this another time where like the song in the front should really, really, really like bring you into the song and be one of the best. But in here, it's not. But when you listen to it first before you listen to everything else, it just kind of works really well. And then, yeah, I kind of agree with you on Happen Ending. Having Ending just kind of is compared to everything else. So,
but yeah. Speaking of, I was, you know, we can kind of move on to the next aspect, to the other album we've been kind of looking forward, and you can introduce that album.
Yeah. So yeah, we have another album, which it shouldn't be a surprise from anyone. We have another album from a guy that we definitely respect. Like I have so much respect for Gaek. But this is a 2-album release. Now you said that one of these albums,
it's like a double album. No, this is just a really big album. This is a really ambitious double album.
Both albums I think are the same length. And I think they're both 9 songs. Yeah, so they're both 9 songs long.
It's Red and Gray.
Yeah, Red and Gray. Which at first I thought it was Red and Gray. And I didn't see the I in there, so I was just like, oh, it's the Red album and the Gray album. But I was like, no, it's Red and Gray. I was like, oh, okay. I'm really lost. I don't even know how to initially tackle this, but
it is a big, ambitious album to kind of get into. And he brings it. And the one thing I had said about that song before, the lead track actually came out a while ago. So he's putting kind of his like solo work, putting it together into this one ambitious album with a bunch of guest appearances, a bunch of guest stars, including Choiza. So technically it's not a dynamic duo album, but there's a couple of songs that are basically dynamic duo songs because both members of dynamic duo are in it.
When a group puts out, like somebody from a group with a solo album, but all the members from that group are still in the album, so it might as well have just been a group album anyway. But there's a lot of solo stuff here from him, and it's really, really good. There's a song on here on the first album featuring Bump Key that I thought was really exceptional. Pass Out. Like I freaking, that song was really, really good, man. Because I love Bunky's vocals, like it's really good.
Something we've talked about before is like he's one of those really fantastic singers and like rappers out there. I've joked about calling him the PCP of K-pop. The greatest guest rapper in K-pop. And he's made this result on a couple of stuff. Yeah, that's a fantastic track. You also go to the single No Makeup featuring Zion T and Hatfelt we talked about before. Is a fantastic track. Another Just Him, the Chaser the Rapper tracks, part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Those were really cool. They were short, comparatively speaking, but they worked really well.
I think they were short because they're kind of one in the same. Like you're kind of, I think, in a sense, it's part 1, half of it, and then part 2 is the other half. So
just kind of splits it up on those 2 parts. Some fantastic tracks. So what other tracks caught your attention? What other tracks did you like?
Mostly the opening tracks from both albums I thought were good. The first one I really, really liked. What is that one? Come in the second album.
Rhythm is Life. Nukem so good.
Yes, Rhythm is Life is so good. It really, really kind of sets your head in the tone that like this kind of storytelling style that like Gaek has, and like the journey he's gonna take you on. Like and he has this real kind of in his music love for kind of instrumentation. Like you really hear drums and guitar, like you kind of hear these things in the beats and stuff like that. And that's kind of something I noticed, like listening to this album, like, because when you really are listening to an album to talk about it, you kind of break it down in certain parts. And there's also a lot of these cool parts of ambient noise, cars starting up, putting a tape into a tape deck, people walking and talking in the background, and like wind blowing through trees. Like a lot of these kind of just elements in like kind of everyday life that then lead into a track. I thought was really cool in some of the tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah, Rhythm is Life is a fantastic track. And it's weird because it's a track that was released and has a video, and I'm showing it right now. That was released in February of last year, 2013. So it was, I guess, just a track they decided, well, this is I'm going to include this on the album, and it is a fantastic track still. And I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but it's definitely one of those videos and songs that caught my attention a while ago. And it's a really cool song. And there's more fantastic tracks. Interesting addition onto this is an appearance by Ailey and doing a little bit of rapping too on top of that. Doing a little bit of rapping on this.
Talk about that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. The song Hung Hai. It's a pretty cool song. It's an interesting collaboration between the two. And she does a pretty good job. I don't know if as good as Gaeko made it out to be in his interview, but it was pretty good. It was a pretty good track. It was a fun song. And other ones like Festival Virgin was the song that was kind of out there. Did you hear that one? That one was pretty out there.
It was. It was one of the ones like because I was listening to the second album kind of right before we recorded, and when it came up, I like pulled it back up. I was like, wait, what? Am I still in the Gaeko album? Like, did I go back to the Epik High album or something? Because it's just not initially what you kind of would think to hear from him.
Yeah.
So, but it's always fun to have that divergence, especially on something so big. This album is so meaty. If you understand that kind of sense of what I'm saying, like it's so meaty. It's so like, there's just a lot here to go through, and I wasn't even initially sure how we were going to tackle it. Like, because I only when Petey was like, oh yeah, hey, I got the album, like and kind of gave it to me, just like, oh okay, cool, and I listened to it, and I didn't really pay attention, and I realized, because I just kind of threw it in Google Music, and it was just like, oh wait, why is there two things here? And Google Music got confused, which I'm gonna have to figure out how to unconfuse Google Music. And it was just like, oh, it's two albums. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. That like, double album. Yeah, and it's really well done. It's really ambitious. Kind of goes a lot of cool different places, and it really impressed me just on the whole. Like on the whole, we talk about the album as a whole. There's a bunch more tracks we can talk about. We can go on for a while. But talking about the album as a whole, it's really ambitious, really creative, and it goes a lot of different places. It's an album that I wouldn't mind. Hey, here's a little compliment. I wouldn't mind bringing it up on Record Breakers. Again, reference Record Breakers. If we decide to do maybe double album month, or if I decide to just throw it in there for whatever reason, I wouldn't mind sharing this album because it's actually a pretty fantastic kind of creative album from Gaeko. It is really well done, and I was impressed. I don't know. Well, what did you think? Talking about the album overall, talking about the album as a whole, what was your impression?
Overall, like, kind of, there's one or two songs that are meh, but I mean, in total, there are one or two songs that are meh. So, something this big, 2 9-track CDs, and only one or two songs are meh. That's fucking exceptional. And especially for how long he's been working on it, in that sense too. So and then to kind of keep that overall sense of all the music, because, some of these songs are at this point, like 3 or 4 years old?
Yeah. Depending on when he made them, yeah.
So, like, holy shit, to keep that kind of like, because the album really really works, and that's something else we talk about a lot, is the album like not having each individual song be too separate from each other. You know, you kind of want some separation, but when you're listening to an album, you don't want to all of a sudden be taken out and be like oh wait, is that the same person that I'm still listening to? Oh, is that the same? Like, oh, it is. Okay. Like, you don't want to have that realization. Like, you're going through this album, except for, like I said, one or two tracks in the track PD specifically mentioned, Festival Virgin. It's just like it's a Gaeko album, and it's a really good Gaeko album.
Yeah. Yeah, those moments that you get caught off guard. I mean, there are good moments that you get caught off guard, like that moment in Baby Metal, the moment in Baby Metal's album when they get ratchet, which you're never ready for. And I said this on Record Breakers, and I'll say it again here. You will never be prepared, no matter how many times you listen to an album, for when Baby Metal gets ratchet. You'll never be ready for it. But yeah, the cohesiveness of the album while still being ambitious is what really makes it, and it's a really fantastic record. I think that's basically the thought on this, and I'm really glad it came out so well. Because Dynamic Duo is a group that I thoroughly enjoy, and a big part of that is Gaeko is a talent that I enjoy, and I was definitely impressed with this entry and this Gaeko's release. I really enjoyed it. But that's it for us. Go out and check out these albums. Go out and check out music.
Please, definitely.
Enjoy it. They're out there. They're on iTunes and Google Play Music and Spotify. At least Epik High's album is on Spotify. So you have no excuses. You have no excuses. Go out and get them. Go out and check them out. But that's it for us. Another fun episode, nicely wrapped up. Kaz, what do you got going on in your world?
New episode of Trinity Black Eyes tomorrow. It's Monday. And then other than that, just working on podcasts, like trying to get more podcasts out so I can actually maybe have a reason to have a Patreon one day, or a Kickstarter or something. I don't know.
Yeah. A Patreon. It's probably going to be a Patreon. Who knows? But yeah,
or start getting ad revenue. I'm gonna start wearing like Starbucks things and
we have like those shirts that all the StarCraft 2 players wear, and all the
all like soccer players and StarCraft players and stuff like that. And just start sitting here with Monster energy drink. It keeps me Hallyujuku.
If Kaz or I show up on the show with Krakens on, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Which is funny because actually I was actually considering buying a pair of Krakens, but I don't know if I would wear on the show. But that's beside the point. About.me/KingKaz, if I point it in the right direction. About.me/PDRave. Find us King Kaz and Peter Ray respectively all over the internet. The show's at Hallyujuku, kpoppodcast.com. Easy way to share with all your friends. Hallyujuku on Twitter. Check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, all over the place. YouTube.com/RABellyTV, according to Brian Ibbett, or Rebelly TV, whatever, it's easier for you to remember. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. We're in your home. Ooh.
So like, share, and repeat.
Until next time. Hasta los huevos.
Leave comments.
But not too mean. Because I'm weak. Annyeong. Fighting.